Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was this morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. And anyway, I love you so much. And I'm going to say this a lot coming up right now because there's a lot going on in the world right now. But guess what? Fear not. Because that's, when you're afraid, things don't get better, do they? Right? It makes it worse. So fear not. Fear not, fear not, So anyway, I love you so much. And also, a big, huge thank you to all of you who have been here. Yes, you, and you, and you, and especially you for being here, loving and supporting Starlight, watching my videos, giving me thumbs up, subscribing to my videos, or leaving me a comment down below, or even sharing my videos. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And anyone, if you'd like to send any love donations, Starlight would love to receive those, and you can. And this would help me out with any personal items that I need, or, I'm a girl, so anything that I could possibly use, don't worry, it wouldn't go to waste. So you could do that through Cash App, and there's an app that you can download. And you could do that, and I will send that information here. Ping! There's my Cash App information. And before I start this video for today, hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman. Plus, don't forget you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, plus give me a thumbs up. And you can also leave a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you can share my videos with your family, your friends. Don't forget to ring the notification bell, and you can check out my playlist. Plus, you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. And now today, and we all can be guilty of this, and it does take time. It could take years, it could take years. So this whole thing that Starlight has been going through is healing myself and letting go. And it's challenging, is we all have like shadows to face, and now when I went to church, the language is different. So in church, I had to learn this because I'm learning about spirituality. I don't go to church, and I don't need to go to church, but I still have a relationship with God, the Creator. I have a relationship with God. Jesus is His Son, so I just want to let you know, that's the God I worship. And so spiritualism, they call it shadows, but church, they would say, like working on your sins, letting go, working on stuff. So, purifying yourself. Either way, it's kind of weird. It's different language, but it kind of means the same thing. So we all have sin or shadows, that we got to work on, and I'm going to name some things that could be things that we need to work on. And like in the Bible time, what I was learning a long time ago is there's lots of spirits out there, and I try to explain this to, not that I tried, but I did explain this to a lot of people. You got the spirit of fornication. So that's people that are out there that are not married, that they're having sex, and marriage is, different for everyone, what that means. So you don't really have to have a legal paper to be married to somebody. But I'm not going to get off on that rabbit trail. Is so fornicating, like going out and just, having sex with who knows who, and where there's no commitment, there's just, it's all about the sex, and you can have a relationship. But the spirit of fornication, it could be a spirit of lying. It's people who lie. They got a spirit in them that, they're lying. They lie about stuff, And so with the spiritual side, it would be facing your shadows, facing that part of you a shadow figure of you of lying. It's like, saying, I'm going to let go of lying. I don't, Starlight is let go of lying. Why are you lying? Starlight works so hard. We're always going to be tested to be honest. So, people could slip. I could slip. But what it is that you're like, I want to be honest all the time. And so that means that you got to let it go. You got to let go of those things. So a lot of people could have lots of spirits, like lying, I said fornication, adultery, drunkenness, idolatry, all kinds of, the spirit of jealousy, the spirit of anger, all kinds. The list goes on and on and on and on. I would be here all day, just naming a list. So pretty much anything that is, sometimes people have to let us know, hey, you're acting this way. And you might not even be really aware that you are doing something. So don't beat yourself over that, like the spirit of being shameful, the spirit of guilt. These are all like the way the Bible goes. But spirituality, it's like you're facing different, shadows of yourself that you need to face. You need to say, hey, I don't want to lie anymore. I don't want to be jealous over people. And I have to say, my whole lifetime, I really never seen myself as a jealous person. Like, I was never jealous of people having things. I figure, hey, they got those things because they worked for it, and that's why they got it. But that's not always the case. And then with relationships, oh yeah, we all had like some kind of jealousy over somebody, especially when you're starting out. You could be with somebody and especially starting out is the roughest, being with a guy or girl. I can't say about with a girl, Starlight's good, is having a boyfriend, and now that would be, fornicating too. It's like, okay, fornication and jealousy, on top of it, and so then, a guy, I'm going to just say a guy and a girl is dating each other, and so it could be a guy that gets jealous because, maybe some of his friends, and this does happen. This really does happen. These things do happen. And you got to really know, are they your friend to begin with? And really, it takes time to really even be, to know if the person that you're with, if they can even be your friend in the first place. But the way society is, people is just like, hi, my name is, here's my number. And before you know it, like, it might not even be a month. They're already having sex, I laugh, but that happens, I've been there. Starlight's been there, guilty. Yes, I've been there, but I let go of that part of me. I let go of this, and, so anyway, I'm building up to really the reason. This is not really the reason why I have this video here, is that we, a lot of times, we got to face these shadows, we got to work on these things, that's what God wants us to do. You have a choice whether you want to work on these things or not. And so I'm always working on something. But what ends up happening a lot of times, we got so many things going on, is what we need to let go is what we expect other people, other people's expectation, like letting go of expecting that somebody's going to do something, like you could call somebody up and don't you kind of expect that they're going to call you back? But what happens if they don't? What happens if they don't? Is it a problem? Is it or is it, well, hey, yeah, maybe I don't have a watch on, but I used to wear watches, but maybe, oh, you know what? I called at the wrong time. They're actually, I forgot they're at work right now. So yeah, that's no big deal, right? So we got to let go of what we expect other people to be doing. And this is a toughie, isn't it? It's tough to let go of thinking that if I do something, somebody's going to do something and help me out, family, like you could have expectations thinking that your family is going to call you up and check up on you, but what if they don't? So it's a way to make you stronger, and because we've been programmed to think that, people are always going to be there, but what if they're not? It would save a lot of heartache and a lot of problems. Maybe you ask somebody a question, and you're like, hey, like you really want to do something, and you're making plans for the weekend, and because you really, 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 really want it so bad to go and do this thing, and you are hoping that they're going to want to do the same thing that you want to do. So these are different things that can dampen your day, and we're like, they don't want to do that, and you're like, but like I really, really, really want to do this. It could be all kinds of things that expectations at work, relationships, expectations, like with your boss, going to work and thinking, near Christmas time, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, an expectation that you should get I've been there before. I've been there before. Right before Christmas, you get through October, then November, and then Christmas is coming, and you're like, I wonder, it's your first time working for the company, and it doesn't even have to be, is that you might just got hired for a job and you did the whole year, and now Christmas is coming, and then now that a lot of times people will ask everybody, hey, do we get bonuses? Do they do anything here? And it could be a bummer to find out that they don't even do nothing. It doesn't matter whether it's like, hey, here I'm here. Am I going to get a bonus here, working so hard at this company? Or, so it's hard, horrible when you work for a company and you could work there for years and they don't do nothing for our expectation would be thinking, I want a bonus for Christmas time. It's Christmas time, So we get all these different expectations from other people, but we got to learn to let those go. God will test us out in so many different ways and challenge us with people that we love and our expectations of them. And so we got to kind of let go of thinking that they got to be there when you think they're going to be there, or they're going to respond when you think they're going to respond. What if they don't respond? And you are waiting for them to respond, but they don't. They totally ignore you. So these are things that we got to let go of. And right now, I'll tell you what, because of so much going on with the blood full moon right now, this is about letting go of things that no longer serve you, things that you want to, things that you're struggling with. You're like, I want to let this go, and Starlight's not perfect. Even though I'm a Virgo, is that, I love when we get full moons or eclipses, because this is a time to release this stuff. This is the time to say, you know what, I don't want that anymore. Like even, what kind of food? Expectations. People have expectations even about the food that you eat. They expect that, you're going to, this happens to Starlight. I have family, it's like I'm a vegetarian, or I'm close to really more on the, I'm going to say vegan, but plant-based diet instead of, vegetarian. I'm so close to a plant-based diet, which is different than a vegetarian diet. But you know what? I could go, if I spent time with certain family members, guess what they're going to want to do? They're going to want to force me to eat stuff I don't eat. They got expectations thinking I got to lower myself to what they're doing when I work so hard to get where I am. So we got to let that go. Let people, let them, if that's what they eat, you can inspire people to eat healthy, but guess what? It's their choice in the end, whether they want to eat healthy or not. We can't force people to do shit, and there's a lot of churches out there that's, they do that stuff, but expectations, even at church, it could be at church where people have expectations of you, where some people, they'll put a guilt trip on you to try to pressure you, to do things that they might see that you'd be a good fit for, but maybe you got enough on your plate already. And it's so easy, like in church or even at work or even at the house, to feel obligated that you got to do something, but deep down inside, you don't want to do it. You're like, where am I going to get the time to do that? So there's even people at churches that have expectations of us, like they expect you to show up on Sunday. Not all churches, but there's a good portion of them. If you don't show up on Sunday, they might be like, hey, are you in sin or something? Is there something going on? Like, what's up? Why didn't you show up Sunday? There's some churches that they will force you in some form to be there every time the doors are open. There's no excuse unless you're really, really on your deathbed or something like that. So people have a lot of expectations maybe on you, or maybe you have expectations on other people, expecting that they're gonna, and here's a good one. Starlight's like, I'm a Virgo. I've actually looked up my sign. It's really interesting, the things that I read about a Virgo, and I'm like, wow, that fits me. Expectations, like when you're in a relationship. And these days it's so much different, because not only women cook, men cook too. Not only women clean, but men clean too. Not all the time, depending on your situation with the love couple that you're, the relationship that you're in. But expectations, thinking, they're going to be home at a certain time. And, but they don't get home at a certain time. How do you feel? Some of you might not even care. I laugh that this happens. There's no care in the world whether they show up or not at the house, true story. So there's some people they could care less because they're really not with the right one to begin with, So expectations that, hey, you should be here at a certain time. I had dinner ready for you. The dinner's hot. But in a relationship, what? People need to communicate, let them know, what's up, hey, I'm running late, sorry. It's good to let people know that you're running late, so they, it wouldn't be like with Starlight, my worst case scenario, I'm thinking maybe got in an accident or something, anything could actually happen, anything could happen. So a lot of times we have all these expectations, and people might have expectations of us, and we really got to let all that go. If other people, have expectations that you're always the one that's got to call them up, you got to let that go. No, you know what? I don't have to always be the one calling you up. So these are things that we all struggle with, no matter who you are. I don't care who you are. We all struggle with this at some there's people out there, they might claim that they got it all down, but really we all struggle with this because the universe God is always going to put something and challenge us where we might, get all excited about something, even like traveling somewhere. Our expectations that, like traveling, getting somewhere. I heard a lot of people, they get upset, like this morning I went to a gas station. Everybody had this expectation of when they got there that they were going to use their debit card or their credit card. And guess what? The whole store, you could not use nothing, only cash. But they did have, a machine, I forget what they're called. They did have a machine in the store where you could use your credit card or debit card to get cash out. But if you went to the pump, you're not getting gas unless you had cash. So everybody had this expectation, and it's like, so I got to watch a lot of people in their when they realize, I can't use cash. You would have thought it would have gone the other way because they really want to get rid of cash. So we got to let those things go, because I'll tell you what, we're going to be challenged. We all get challenged. We all do have expectations of other people. Like if I just, like tomorrow, didn't write to somebody at all, didn't write to them, that every day I write to them, right? Like 3 times a day. And say if tomorrow I didn't write at all, their expectation would be, you normally write to me at this certain time and later on, but something could have happened, So we gotta just kind of, take life as it comes and not to have these expectations on other people. And when we're challenged with those, is to take a breather, and say it's okay, because when I was younger, I had a horrible time with this, especially having a dinner at the table, and having a hot meal, and, hey, nobody showed up, hey, I'm just going to eat my dinner, but you really want to make sure that you communicate with people. And the best thing to do, if you can, as soon as you can, to let them know, hey, I'm sorry, I'm running late. Sometimes we can't get to the phone. Sometimes things are going to happen, you never know. Maybe you don't have, something could happen with a phone. So we don't want to get angry and upset with those people. And we don't want people to control us. They might have expectations on us, but we don't want them to control us. And that's why you don't want people to pressure you into something because they have expectations that you're going to do something. Like your boss might want you to work on the weekend. I'll tell you what, take it from Starlight. If you don't want to ever work on the weekend, don't take that. Don't say yes to the weekend. Once you say yes one time, you're screwed. Because then, you know what? They will, once you say yes once, they're going to want you to come in again. And then, after a while, you're stuck. You're stuck in it. So they're going to have these expectations. You don't have to fall for those expectations that they have of you. Be brave enough and say, you know what? No, I have a life. I gave you my time this week. And a lot of people, they get drawn in because, ooh, look at the money I can make. Ooh, overtime, I get all this extra money. These are little tricks that they have out there, to pull you in, to control you. So then now your weekend's gone. Now your kids are waiting for you. Whether you understand this, your kids are like your pets. Unless you're abusing your kids. If you're abusing your kids, then your kids don't want you to come back home. I hope they never come back home, right? Because you're abusing your kids. I hope not. But if you're a good parent, or at least you're really, not saying that you got to be perfect, but your kids and your family, if everything's going good, they can't wait for you to get back. And so you got to be mindful of, these things that go on out there, is just like your pets, your kids. So don't work all those extra hours, because your kids, they don't see you through the whole week, Some, dinner time in bed, dinner time in bed, dinner time in bed. That's might be the only time you see them. That's why I don't understand why people ain't bother having kids. Anyway, did I lose some of you out there? So anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, give me a thumbs up. And you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Plus, you could share my videos with your family or friends. And don't forget the notification bell. And check out my playlist. And you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman, Starlight. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.